Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a trans guy who reads a lot of queer books. These are the 6 books I read in May, including the one on the top that put me into a massive book hangover. Before we get into the books, I wanted to let you know over on Bindery I am accepting personalized book recommendations. So if there's something for Pride that you want a specific book rec for, or you just want a book recommendation from me, the link is down below. Become a free or paid member. You can go to the top of my page, click get a rec, fill out the form, and you'll be featured here on YouTube. I'll be doing a video that I did back in April where I answered your recommendations. So I will link that down below if you want to go and watch it. The video will be accompanied by a written post on Bindery. It's my dream to have my own imprint dedicated to publishing the queer books I wish existed. So if you want to help me out with that, if I gain enough subscribers on Bindery, it'll be able to happen. I would love any support. Like I said, the link is down below. What's in it for you is you'll get exclusive content every week and access to my private Discord where I host a monthly themed book club and we talk about queer and diverse books. I hope to see you over there. Now onto the books. First is Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. I did an episode of TBR Tackle where I had 3 of my booktube friends pick what I read, and my friend Angel chose Mistakes Were Made. Honestly, I was skeptical of this because she didn't love this, but I was so surprised by how obsessed I became with this book. I had such a fun time with this. It's an age gap romance between Erin, a woman who just divorced her husband, and Cassie, a senior in college. When Erin is visiting her daughter Parker for family week on her college campus, she has a one-night stand with another woman. She doesn't expect to see her again, but when she goes to meet Parker and her friend for breakfast, Cassie is there. Cassie is Parker's best friend. Let's go over the logistics. Erin had Parker when she was 20 years old. Parker is a freshman in college and Cassie is 21 going on 22. Erin is 38 years old. I just thought this was really well done. I was just so obsessed with it. I had so much fun. I love reading a book where I am just so eager to keep picking it up. One of my favorite romance tropes that I feel like a lot of people don't know is forbidden romance. This was obviously a forbidden romance because both women are hiding the fact that they are secretly dating or hooking up. Oh my god, this was just so fun. A roller coaster of emotions, but in the best way. However, if I'm being honest, I'm really sad that I love this because there is no other book I can find that can live up to it, and I just want more. But it did introduce me to this author, and I will definitely be reading more of Meryl Wilsner. If you saw my Queer Lit Readathon video, I referenced my June TBR, and I am hoping to read more of Meryl Wilsner this month. If you love messy queers, I highly recommend this. Content warnings for alcohol, underage drinking, explicit sexual content, death of a parent in the past, estranged parents, abandonment, divorce in the past. Next, I did a video where I spun a wheel to decide how long I read for 4 days. And it made me severely burned out, but I had a lot of fun with it. So basically I spun a wheel and it had 5 hours on it. So every day I spun the wheel and it decided how long I read for. I ended up reading 2 books and like half of a book that I did finish, so I will be reviewing it in this video. First, I read the graphic novel Just Between Us by Adeline Cohn. I adored this. It is a rivals to lovers lesbian figure skating romance between 2 Asian women. This book does not shy away from talking about heavy topics like familial pressure, being the breadwinner for your family, and just figure skating in general can be very toxic. There's toxic authoritative figures, I don't know if that's the correct word, but the coaches specifically can be very hard on the skaters. And we definitely see that here. But I really enjoyed my time reading this. I already want to reread it because I feel like I could have missed some things. I loved the complexities of the characters and how they were developed. and how they come to appreciate each other. Rivals to lovers is one of my favorite tropes, but sometimes it feels rushed. You have the characters who are rivals, and then sometimes it feels like it doesn't last that long. In a graphic novel especially, it can feel rushed, but it doesn't feel like that here. It's very slow. I think this is also because you see specific points in time. If you know me as a reader, I love when we get time frames. Literally, if a book tells me the date and time of the scene or chapter, it probably will become my favorite book. But I really loved how slow this was. They hate each other so much and are trash talking and such. But then they realize maybe it's not so bad. The main goal for these two women is to be in the Olympics. One is from Malaysia and the other one is born in the US. So they are not even on the same team. They are competing against each other for their countries. I just thought this was really interesting. I don't see many queer books about figure skating, but now I need more. Content warnings for homophobia, lesbophobia, de-slur on page use as a slur and in a derogatory manner, physical violence, controlling parents, and injury on page. For that same video, I read the middle grade Vivian Lantz's Second Chances by Catherine Ormsby. It had an ordinal number in the title, so I read it for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. This was an exhausting book, but it doesn't mean I didn't like it. It is a Groundhog Day retelling of a young girl, Vivian, who is starting 8th grade, but all of her first days of school have gone terrible. So since she's going to 8th grade, this is the year that it'll finally be different, right? Wrong. She experiences about 5 times the same first day of school over and over again, and that's why this book can be exhausting. If you like that trope, you will like this. I want to make it clear that I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just somebody that doesn't want to have to experience that. But I thought that this was still a solid book. It was on my physical TBR, so I was going to read it anyway, and I'm glad I did. It has queer rep. We have Vivian, who is bisexual, and she meets a girl at her school, Gemma, who is a lesbian. Vivian also has 2 dads. I liked seeing how Vivian learned her lesson about not needing to be with the popular kids. She wants to be with the popular kids because she has a crush on this boy who is in the group. But as she relives her day over and over again, she realizes that she doesn't actually like this person. She just wanted to be included in all of what she thinks is their fun things, but she learns that they're actually bullies. And she starts to grow a little closer to Gemma. This was really fun, and like I said, if you like the Groundhog's Day trope, I think you'll enjoy this. Content warnings for bullying, homophobia, mention of periods and menstruation. The character gets her period. Minor mention of blood, minor car accident scene. It was a fender bender. Sexism and injury/injury detail. In May, I celebrated my birthday and my 12-year booktube anniversary. I didn't do a video for it. I don't really plan to. There's really nothing that I feel like I need to say that I haven't said already. Creating content is something that I enjoy, and when I stop enjoying it is when I'll stop making these videos. But I meant to reread my favorite books and do a video, but it just didn't happen. I had a whole plan to reread Cemetery Boys and The Prospects and Promise Boys. Maybe I will do that throughout the year. Cemetery Boys I need to reread because the sequel is coming out in September, so that is something that is a priority for me. I got the audiobook through Libro FM and I enjoyed what I had read of it. I want to hybrid read it, so I don't want to just quickly read it. I want to spend some time with it. But I did end up rereading one book. This was the graphic novel Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. I'm so glad I reread this because I've been recommending it recently and I forgot what it was even about. This is a series I'll definitely come back to this year because it is so comforting. If you don't know it, it is basically a fantasy graphic novel about tea dragons who are rare and magical. I read the first book, The Tea Dragon Society, which follows Greta, a young blacksmith, and she learns how to properly care for the tea dragons. Honestly, I hate reading these books because once I'm finished, I wish tea dragons were real. It makes me so annoyed. I'm like, why can't I have one? I want one. I want to have a tea dragon, and it's not fair. Honestly, if you want a sweet, lighthearted book and you're just looking for some comforting vibes, this is it. Get it and then come back to me and tell me how much it literally brightened your day. May was literally the month for messy queers, and I'm not upset about it. I finally got to Bed and Breakup by Susie Dumond. I did read it in that spin the wheel video, but I didn't finish it in the video. Like a week after I made that video, I did finish this, and I loved it. I do have some minor complaints about it, but overall, I really enjoyed it. We follow two women, Molly and Robin, in their mid-30s who were once married, but 7 years ago, they separated. They used to run a bed and breakfast called the Hummingbird Inn in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, a queer small town, but life got the best of them and they grew apart. Not having seen each other for 7 years, they have so much pent-up anger for each other. So when both women find themselves back in Eureka at the inn, they are furious. This technically has the only one bed trope, but if it were only one inn. Like, there is a scene where they have only one bed, but both women are stuck in this inn together. They won't get out. Oh my god, they are so petty, and I love that. I love a petty character. Molly specifically. I don't really have fictional character crushes anymore, but when I read Molly, everything changed. She is a fantastic character. She has a lot of flaws, but I was very smitten by her. I can understand why Robin was head over heels for her. She is a delight, but she's also so messy, and I love that. So basically, this book is about the two women coming together to renovate the inn and sell it to their friend. But as they're there, things change and they realize what they loved about the inn. It's very slow progression. Robin wants to sell the inn and be done, but Molly is not really interested in doing that. There's a lot of complicated feelings and deep conversations that they ultimately start to have. Oh my god, this was just so fun. I really enjoyed it. Like a safe haven. I love a small town vibe that is like a safe haven for queer people. This was my first time reading Susie Dumond, and it won't be the last. Her debut novel is called Queerly Beloved, and I believe it's about a baker. I know it's about like a closeted baker in a small town. I'm very intrigued in reading that. I loved this because it was so unique and refreshing to read. In the queer community, I think people tend to forget that there are people in red states who do not want to leave. There's so many queer safe havens for people. That's why I love recommending Real Queer America by Samantha Allen. I always say that is required reading for everybody because it has such a positive outlook on red states and the queer communities there. So I was really glad that that's what this book talked about. If you read this, definitely read the author's note at the end. I have an ARC, so I don't know what the finished copy is like, but I really appreciated the author's note. Susie talks about why it is important for her to write about southern states and the queer people and communities there. I love a queer book that has an artsy character. So when Molly was introduced as being a stained glass window artist, I thought that was so cool. And you can kind of see it on the cover, how it has like the mosaic tiles and all. That is such a fun element. I thought it was so creative and unique. So Molly spends most of the book commissioned to make stained glass windows for some of the businesses. And Robin is a famous chef. They call her a lesbian. She's at a rough patch in her career and doesn't know what she wants to do. So a trans man who works at the restaurant nearby, Jesse, he helps her get back into learning why she loves to cook. He has a vegan restaurant. Honestly, I loved seeing a trans man as a side character. I don't see that very often. It made me so happy, and his partner is non-binary. I had so much fun with this, but my only minor complaint is that I felt that they didn't have like a big conversation. I was waiting for them to just sit and have a big conversation about everything because they're very hostile at the beginning, and then the middle is more steamy, and then at the end is when they kiss and make up. But I wish they would have just had like an adult conversation. And they do have like minor conversations, and some of them come out at the wrong time. So it's not like they don't talk about things, but I wish that they would have had like a bigger conversation. But I do have the arc, so maybe in the finished copy it's different. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this. I'm so glad I read it because I had been wanting to read it since it came out last year. I had had a copy thanks to the Dial Press, so I'm really glad I finally read it, and it did not disappoint. Content warnings for alcohol, scene where a fire breaks out, but it's not like severe or anything, estranged parents, and explicit sexual content. There are many shower scenes. And last, the book you've all been waiting for, The House of Now and Then by Edward Underhill, put me into a book hangover. I finished this on May 23rd, and I didn't finish anything after that. This was incredible. It was fantastic. I was obsessed with it. I genuinely didn't want it to end. We follow Harlow, a trans man in his 30s who just broke up with his longtime boyfriend, Jackson. So he leaves Boston for the summer to go to Cape Cod and books a cottage. When he gets there, he meets the owner, Dina, who is an elderly trans woman. Oh my god, I loved having a trans elder. Dina was hilarious. She has a cat who is just on the loose all the time. His name is Sir Duke. This just talks a lot about trans elders and the history, but we also have Harlow having to make amends with a lot of problems that he has suppressed and maybe got wrong. I say this because when he gets to the cottage and he sets his stuff down, his professor, his dad, and his ex are all there. His ex is in the bathroom, his father is in the kitchen, and his professor is in the living room. He cannot escape the problems that have surfaced in his life. Honestly, this is probably somebody's worst nightmare. It's torture, but it's a time loop, so it's fine. I adored this. It was so fun, especially because it's not one and done. Harlow takes the entire summer having to figure out why these people are here. Honestly, he has way more patience than I do because the fact that he didn't just have a full-on crash out as soon as he got there and like started screaming at everybody, that takes a lot of patience. But he does learn that he could just like shut all of the doors and then he doesn't have to worry about it. Oh, but there's actually another character as well. Dina's nephew, Nathan, when he was in his 20s. Harlow does eventually get to meet Nathan present day in his 30s, and they do have a really sweet romance. Nathan is very hard-headed though because of a lot of things that have happened in his life, but I really loved their relationship. And I just loved the vibe of this book. It is also very queer and we have like some small town vibes. Dina runs a shop called Queer Punks with her friend, and Nathan works at the coffee shop in town. If you've been wondering about this, I highly recommend it. If you're going to the beach or on vacation, this is a really good beach read. I highly recommend this, and thank you to Avon for sending me a physical copy. I am so appreciative. I'm so happy I read this. I actually read it for my book club that I host in Discord through Bindery. There is a theme every month, and we all read a book based on the theme, and then we discuss in Discord. In May, the theme was to read a book by a trans author. Content warnings for death of parents, toxic relationship, alcohol, alcoholism, car accident in the past, injury in the past, description and mention of a character with scars, mention of divorce in the past, and mention of losing someone to AIDS. Those are the 6 books that I read in May. What did you read in May? Were there any standouts? Let me know in the comments. And if you stayed till the end, leave a rainbow emoji in your comment so I know you stayed. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my top members on Patreon and Bindery. It is my dream to have my own imprint, so if you want to help me out with that, links down below. Become a For Your Paid member. You'll have access to my private Discord, the book club, and exclusive content every week. I hope to see you over there. If you'd like to watch more YouTube things, you'll like this video, and you can subscribe there. Bye.